Welcome to 5 Start Weekly. Finally, Atlanta United finally has its first win in the league this season and a first win in the league for Frank de Boer in quite a while. But can they turn things around and beat Dallas this weekend? We talk about all that and more next.
Welcome to the show, 5 Star Fam. I'm AJ, this is Tanner McLeod. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube or hop over from Facebook and subscribe.
You can now also find all our content on the Geneco USA platform anywhere in the world on Amazon Fire TV, Roku, iOS, Google Play, and many other streaming platforms.
So guys and gals, it was an encouraging match from the Five Stripes, but was it a vintage Atlanta United performance? I'm not really so sure, but at least the attack looked a lot more dangerous with 19 shots. But yeah, I mean, it definitely looked very, very different from the very off. I think the very first 10 seconds was something of a worry because Eric Remedi had that concussion and it was termed a mild concussion afterwards. But yeah, I think, you know, mild. Yeah, so mild that he had to come off. But yeah, he was still posting on social media afterwards. So, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things. But Ezequiel Barco came on and he looked better than he ever has before. Although it kind of harkened to a shot in preseason in 2017 that really got me excited.
Battery? Was the Battery?
I think it was against the Battery, but yeah, I mean, either way, yeah. You know, him shooting from that left side, cutting in and aiming for that right net, yeah, in that right corner. It's something that we want to see more from Ezequiel Barco, of course. But yeah, I mean, you know, against a New England Revolution side that's not very, very good, kind of toothless in attack, like I've said before.
They managed one shot on target the whole game.
Exactly. But, you know, and then, you know, we get 19 shots off of them in a 2-0 win. We were not efficient. We were not clinical. But I think it's still very encouraging because we get our first 3 points of the season in the 2019 MLS season. That's, yeah, it's encouraging signs, I think.
It's a big win for Atlanta United, but it's also a big win for Frank de Boer, who got his first league win in a very long time. But
Since October of 2016.
Yeah, Ezequiel Barco really staked a claim as to why he should be starting every game.
Yeah.
He didn't get the start, he comes on, and he scores 2 really good goals. Don't forget about the first one either. Yeah. Great run from Tito on the left side, great cross into the box, and a cool, calm, and clinical finish from Ezequiel Barco. And then he has that wonder goal that you see. Yes. That's confidence, and that's something that United fans need to see from him, because if he can improve and become a consistent goal-scoring threat, he finds himself in that position quite a bit, but he never really shoots. If he can start getting confidence in his shot, that's going to be another thing that teams have to worry about when defending against Atlanta United. And if you want to sit deep and sit inside your own 18, if you have guys that can make shots like that, that's one way to get past a solid defense.
Right, and now he leads our team in goals with 3, and yeah, who would have thought? Who would have thought that Ezequiel Barco, who was much maligned by a lot of people by not taking shots inside the box, I think, yeah, his confidence is growing. You know, and I think a lot of people who thought maybe P.T. Martinez would be the heir apparent to Miguel Almiron, I think, you know, it's probably been Ezequiel Barco. And with that, I mean, he's shown his work rate very early on this season as well, and tracking back and, you know, pressing wise, yes, he still needs a little bit of work, I think, but, you know, it's still, I think, encouraging signs. And, you know, I think, you know, with what we need to do, you know, in the league, this is, you know, a step in the right direction.
Absolutely. You also saw Tito Villalba getting 2 assists as well, from the left and from the right, kind of finding space and moving around to attack the defense. He played really well. The only person who maybe struggled on the attack was Joseph Martinez, and that was interesting. He had a couple
I
chances.
wouldn't even say he struggled.
He got himself in chances.
He struggled finishing.
Yes. As a striker, as long as he's getting into goal-scoring chances, he's doing the right thing.
Right.
He's going to find the back of the net. Honestly, if anyone gets on his back, he's probably angrier than everyone in Atlanta put together, knowing how he is. And then,
his link-up play.
Oh, his
link-up play was fantastic. And so, you know, he was spreading it around. He found the right ball to, you know, Tito for him to make that run, you know, and drive in the box for that first goal. yeah, I mean, he's pretty much almost playing as a false nine at times and really getting involved in the play, you know, dropping back more into midfield to collect the ball. And so it's good because it's, you know, this year I think he's being marked differently, like he said in the press as well. Like he's getting pretty much all the marking on him, all the coverage.
Which is why,
you know,
Barco being able to score these goals
Exactly.
is so important, because if you have goals coming from other areas,
Exactly.
teams can't mark him out of the game like that.
Right.
I'm not sure if I think that playing him as a false nine or playing with him with his back to goal is the best way of utilizing Josef Martinez, but if that's how he has to get his service in the system right now,
Yeah.
so be it. Another player who had a very good game and showed a lot of what I was hoping he would bring to the table when he was signed was Darlington Nagbe.
Of course.
I mean, 91% pass accuracy, created a few chances, was driving forward. He looked really good in the midfield as well. Again, another player who you need performances like that consistently
Right.
if you want to be successful as
Right.
a side.
And the hearsay of why he was named man of the match is because there's a beer sponsor on the man of the match, and so that's why
Ezequiel
Ezequiel
Barco
Barco
can't get it.
Exactly, because he's 19 years old. But I think back to Josef Martinez though, and what he, yes, I mean, you know, he hasn't scored in the league yet.
He
and
scored
that-
against Cincinnati.
okay, yeah. So he's got one, but other than that, it's not been, you know, he's not leading the league right now, and that's, you know, people will be saying he's had a bad year and whatnot so far. I think that's where it's a kind of misnomer maybe in that regard, because yeah, what he has to do right now is a lot different than what he was doing last year. He was being fed the ball in all the places that he is really, really good in attack, and he's missing a Miguel Miron. He's missing a Greg Garza. All he's got right now from the attack last year, essentially, that were the main like feeders of the ball to him, Julian Gressel, and then sometimes Tito. You know, so it's like it's, you know, for him to only have one goal, and then, you know, Carlos Vela is leading the league. It's just,
LAFC are flying. Right
yeah,
now,
they're
to be
flying
fair.
as well, and so that's really what's different is, you know, the service that he's getting is a lot different, and that's why he's having to take shots outside of the box. It's, you know, I think the chances will come inside the box once other guys are more dangerous and are scoring. I think, yeah, if guys are having to cover more of an Ezequiel Barco because he's on fire or something, yeah, it really just opens up more space for the likes of a Josef Martinez. So.
Although it does help him develop his game even more to become more of a complete forward.
Yeah.
And if Josef Martinez can add playing with his back to goal consistently and finding that space, and the team can click, as
Yeah.
well as him being able to get into those positions, then he becomes an absolute nightmare for
Oh, for
defenders
sure.
to mark, because where is he going? Is he coming short? Is he dropping deep? I mean, that's when he becomes an absolutely unplayable
Yes.
forward. And if he can master that and the team can function around him and get those players moving forward, which is something we hadn't seen, and when the team was struggling to create chances. Against New England, there were players in and around the box.
Sure.
There were guys making runs into the box. That's what this team needs. And we talked about it last week. Will there be an improved performance? Will we see progress? And I think we got the answer to that question, yes.
Yeah.
Now, we have to build upon that, because one result against New England isn't going to make your season.
Oh, for sure.
But it gets things heading in the right direction.
Indeed. And I'm going to bang on more about Josef Martinez. It really is to a degree where, yes, if he can get double digits in assists, you know, because, yeah, the pre-assists actually count in MLS. So, yeah, he was spreading it out to, you know, the right person and getting them into the space for that, right? And so, yeah, if he doesn't score 30 goals, but scores around 20-ish and gets double digits in assists, I mean, that's still a really, really strong season. I mean, that's a lot of creation, and I think that's, you know, if it is that type of number, yeah, it bodes well for us in the season, so that we're not just reliant on one player as well. And so if an Ezequiel Barco can chip in more goals, then there we go.
I mean, if you can get double-digit goals from Joseph Pity and Ezequiel Barco,
Yeah.
you're going to be doing all right. And teams
And Tito maybe.
and Tito
Yeah,
maybe,
sure.
because
So.
he's looking a lot more comfortable in this
Yeah.
team now. And we'll get on to some of the comments that Frank de Boer made about his play later on.
Right.
I think some really interesting nuggets about this match, though, was the fact that this was the first time this season that Atlanta United was both outpossessed and outpassed by the opposition. I never would have guessed that going into New England, but who knew? You don't have to have the ball and outpass them to death in order
Right.
to win a game.
I think it's because, you have the chaos of, maybe a Tito when he comes in, and the unpredictability. I mean, that's what he really offers as well.
He's a lot more direct than anyone else you have on this team. He's willing to run at people to make something happen.
And I've been saying pretty much all, most of 2019 that we need to be more direct in getting to the byline and pulling that ball back, because
that's how you got that Ezequiel Barco goal.
Exactly. And, in previous seasons as well, like a Julian Gressel running from the right side and pulling it back to someone that's inside the 6 or the 8 even. That's how you get open guys, because they're worried about what you're going to do at the byline. And, you have that third man run. It's perfect for that. We need to do more of it. And I think we've shown, especially in this match, you can really draw people out of position that way. And we have the guys that can do that, that can get to the byline. So let's use that pace. But and other interesting nuggets were, so when, for me, it's also Ezequiel Barco, he comes on like super sub, and then he comes off.
To be fair, he did play, 60, 70 or so minutes.
He did, and he ran his socks off.
Yeah, he worked his ass off.
But,
if you get 2 goals like that,
right.
Yeah,
no, it's fair, but it also is funny that he's the one to come off. But PT Martinez, he came on, looked hungry, looked a lot more refreshed, and I think if he's still coming from the bench and really kind of having to prove himself, that's a better role for him right now until he can really get his legs under him. Because then, if he
that's
can get
scary,
if he can get his legs under him, we will be hopefully firing on a lot of cylinders. That bodes well.
Think of the idea of playing, say, like a 4-2-3-1 with PT, Tito, and Barco as that 3 and Joseph up. That's really terrifying. That's possibly the best attacking 4 you're gonna get in this league if they're firing on all cylinders. I don't care.
You got the
you
power.
got everything. You got pace, technical ability. You got goal scoring from inside the box, outside the box, with the head as far as Joseph is concerned. If you're a defense, I don't care how deep you play. One of those guys is going to pick you apart.
And they will hurt you.
And you got 2 guys that can hit free kicks really well in PT and Barco. I mean, foul them if you dare around the box.
Yeah.
Things are going better. It's one match though. We need to improve. They need to continue to improve, and that has to happen against Dallas on the weekend.
Right. And so, in the post-match quotes and what they talked about, Frank de Boer, he had a lot of praise for Ezequiel Barco with good reason. But we were all perplexed, and I was perplexed why he did not start. But in the end, it worked out well for him, of course. But I think maybe it was slightly too defensive to start. But I think looking back on it, it makes sense that Lorenowitz was in to handle the physicality of a New England Revolution, and Remedi, I think maybe, and as we saw. Unfortunately, was not the man for this match, actually. It's one of those 2 probably needed to have sat. And unfortunately, yes. So Eric Remedi, hopefully the mild concussion is nothing more. So far, it's not too bad is what we hear, but, we'll see by the week's end. But, I think, with the rest of that as well, Parkey as a fullback and Shea as a fullback, the kind of I think game plan goes out the window a little bit after Ezequiel Barco comes on, because then you have you replace someone that's more defensive with a more offensive person. Darlington Nagbe has to pretty much be a holding midfielder, which he of course
still incredible.
But I think you don't see a Shea and a Parkhurst really bomb forward a whole lot. They did go forward, but it wasn't incredible combinations and something inspiring going forward, but they were very solid. Shea, I think, had numerous tackles and interceptions, probably his best defensive game yet. And I think also a much maligned guy. That it's somebody that I think if you give him more time, he can show a little bit more of what he's had been so far. But
I don't think he's been a complete unmitigated disaster like some people want to scapegoat him to be. He's not like the source of all the problems. He had poor games? Yes, but the whole team has. So I still want to give him some more time to settle in, figure out what his role is within this team, and see what he can do, because there's no point in bashing your own players 5 games into the season.
Right. And I mean, because he hasn't just been outright awful for us at any point. I mean, it's not been encouraging at times maybe, but it hasn't been to a degree where it's like,
but again, it's been the whole team.
Exactly.
You know what I mean, it's been the whole team.
Yeah, when we've been poor, the whole team has been poor. So agreed. But back to the quotes from after the match. He was talking about Ezequiel Barco. You have to make decisions sometimes. He started on the bench, but you want that type of response from every substitute. I'm very happy for him. Of course, happy the most for the team because we desperately needed a win. I think the way that we did it, it gives a lot of hope for the future. 2-0, I think it could have been 7-1 or something like that. We can look back very positively on this game.
I'm always fine with putting up 7 goals against New England.
Oh yeah, for sure. And maybe that was an allusion to that or something, but we could have been a lot more clinical. Of course, Tito and Joseph, they hit it right at the keeper at times. Gressel even had a chance that was, saved off the line. This type of thing happens when, I think the team is low on confidence. They need that conviction to want to score and to be able to score, and I think they're slowly gaining that. And I think, once that they have all these chances, I think it's just a matter of time before it goes in. But Frank de Boer also talked about the relief of getting the team's first 3 points. He said, "You want to start as well as possible, and I still think we did great in the CONCACAF. I think we can be proud of our performance against them, and of course our result in the other league wasn't the result we wanted. Still, I saw the progress already against Columbus, and it's also a question of time when we get our result. I will tell you, everyone was eager to get 3 points, including myself, of course." I mean, yes, we did hand Monterrey their first loss of the calendar year in CONCACAF, and then against Herediano, yes, we looked strong, but I think still on the whole, CONCACAF,
they did absolutely shithouse Kansas City, though.
It's true.
So, I mean...
It's one of those things, But I think arguably we are a better team than Sporting KC as well. So it is, maybe not this year, but it is a case where I think the expectations, yes, maybe were high from a lot of people. But it also is, that's how close we were in terms of, against Herediano, against Monterrey, like the last 10 minutes against Monterrey. If it didn't go and swing that way, it could have been a completely different story. And so that's where it's,
Again, I don't want to talk too long on Champions League, though. I mean, his first season, first time in the competition, there's going to be learning, growing pains. And at the end of the day, Monterrey would have had, 10 DPs in MLS if they were in MLS?
Yeah,
so
something like
they've
that.
got a lot more invested in their playing squad than what Atlanta United can. And to only lose 3-1 in aggregate as opposed to a Kansas City, who, again, got absolutely housed. It wasn't a great start, but he's got that first win. Like you said, that first win since September or October of 2016 against Torino when he was at Inter Milan. That means he had a job in between where he didn't win at all at Crystal Palace, and now he's finally got that win. So let's hope that with this one, to kind of wrap a bow on New England, 2-0, professional result, got that win in New England like I told you we would do. And now let's kick on and get some more points, put them on the board, and get it to the top of the league.
Let's get into the news then. Let's say happy birthday to Atlanta United. They were born on this day that we're recording, April 16th, 2014. That was when MLS announced Atlanta as the 22nd franchise. And
5 years ago already. Man, an MLS Cup to boot.
Crazy. It's just absolute madness. Not everyone has been there from the beginning, but it is definitely, we've picked up a lot of people along the way, and may it continue, because it is just, I think, a pleasure to follow this team. I think normally. And of course, we've had a rough patch, but I think, this is our roughest patch that we've had. It
happens in sports.
It happens with every team. And thankfully, we haven't had too many of that so far. But guys, also Ezequiel Barco was named to the MLS Team of the Week for Week 7 and also was named the MLS Player of the Week. Congrats to the boat. He apparently doesn't like to be called Little Boat, actually. So
well, hopefully the big boat can also win MLS Goal of the Week because he has been nominated for MLS Goal of the Week. He's winning handily right now because, well, we all know how it goes when an Atlanta United player is nominated for anything. But voting closes Wednesday night, so if you have not voted yet, go in and get that vote so he can get his Goal of the Week to pretty much clean up on all of the awards from Week 7 in MLS.
Yeah, he's definitely the player of the moment, I think, for Atlanta United at the time right now. But yeah, let's move on to Atlanta United 2 and them signing a. You guys can try this name, but I'm gonna give it a try. Sure.
Okay, I'll give it a try after you go.
Bienveni Kanakimana.
I'm gonna go Bienvenue Kanekamana.
Yeah.
I'm going Bienvenue because it's French. It's definitely a French-speaking country.
Right.
But he was signed on loan for the 2019 season with an option to buy. Oh, great! This is another easy one from the Czech Republic's MFK Vyškov.
Yeah.
So pending league and federation approval, there is an option to buy there, like we said. He is a Burundi Youth International forward, and he will be playing with Atlanta United 2.
Right.
Top scorer, scored 23 goals across all competitions in the Burundi Premier League, so maybe he's got a bit of something. So Atlanta United clearly saw something in him to sign him.
Right.
Scouting department doing something different.
Exactly. But yeah, also moving on, Atlanta United is in the top 10 in the world in attendance. I mean, that's just some nuts stuff right there. And that's, they are ahead of the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool, who are leading the Premier League right now.
My smug face.
I mean, yeah. And
at least one of my teams is doing better than them in something.
Yeah. I mean,
Womp
that's,
womp.
but anyway, yeah, I mean, of course, Borussia Dortmund is top, and a lot of, German clubs are
Manchester United.
But yeah, it's a very nice list to be a part of, and we are the only one, in the Western Hemisphere in the top 10.
I mean, 10th. I mean, over 50,000 a game.
Yeah,
5 strikes.
51,000.
Give your hand. I mean, 17s. Give yourself a hand because in year 3 to do that is incredible. The future only knows what it can hold, and one day I think that whole stadium is going to be open every game. And then you're going to be challenging the likes of Manchester United and those German clubs for those top spots.
Right.
Although Dortmund, their stadium is bigger than ours, so that's just not going to happen.
Right. And yeah, for the context of that, for maybe the people in England or South America that are watching, yeah, I mean, we don't open the Benz every single match to its full capacity. I think it's asking supply demand essentially to get there until we actually do. And so yeah, I mean, on the reg where it's just the lower bowl, it's 45,000 or so, and then when it's full and full capacity, it's around 70 plus. So
yeah. Well, to be more specific, out of 17 league home matches this
Right.
season, 6 of those will be open to the whole stadium, and then all the playoff games are open for that. So those where those numbers come from. But either way, big numbers there. Congrats to the 5 stripes for that.
Right.
Another congrats to the city of Atlanta is congratulations to Soccer in the Streets, as they are now they have broken ground and are building their 3rd station soccer pitch at the East Point MARTA station. There are still plans to have up to 10 soccer pitches at these MARTA stations. That is an incredible achievement, so congrats to Soccer in the Streets for that. I can't wait to see where they put the next one.
Right, and it's kind of as a part of a league of stations, which is very cool. And so basically, people who are at least maybe they have a home at one of the stations, they will be playing and traveling on our transit station, to another station to play another team. That's, I think, brilliant. And
someone needs to be named Woodrow Wilson FC.
Yeah, right.
There's a League of Nations joke in there for
Sure.
history buff.
Yeah, or League of Stations, but yeah, League of Nations. Okay, sure.
See what I'm going?
Yeah, all right.
Well,
I'll go with that. But yeah, and so guys, let's move on to Atlanta United 2, who, they've played a lot of games recently, actually, and they beat Memphis, they beat Memphis 901 1-0 on Wednesday night. Away, and Kevin Barajas scored his first professional goal. So congrats to the dream tryout player who, I mean, that's that's just
that's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty awesome.
That's we're all again living vicariously through Kevin Barajas. But and also Dylan Castanera had 8 saves in that match, which I mean, my God, still kept a clean sheet. That's just massive from the super draftee from this year.
The irony that Atlanta United is playing the team that owns his MLS rights this weekend.
Yeah, indeed. He will probably have no part in the match coming up, but it's still...
He can sit and watch and he wins either way.
Exactly, that's true. But and also we beat Atlanta United 2 beat North Carolina FC 2-1 on Saturday night. Gordon Wild scored his first of the season with a Carlton assist. Well taken goal by Gordon Wild, actually, because he's German. And Jackson Conway also scored his first professional goal with a assist from Laurent Kisiadou. And I mean, he's an academy product, Jackson Conway. I mean, just I think big things are probably coming from this.
17 years old and 6'3".
Yeah.
You know what they call that in the soccer biz? Unit.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely a lot of academy players started in this match as well, and we saw just some quality performances from the twos. I think so far it's
been much improved over their first season.
Yeah, Stephen Glass, I think the head coach is maybe making some differences in their preparation, and I think it's also a year more for the squad. Albeit it's a different squad, but I think there's still a core that have been the incumbent, and I think that really helps too.
They're also playing in a stadium that makes more sense for soccer, so that might also be a bit more comfortable. But they're right now only 3 points back at the top in the Eastern Conference and USL Championship, and they're in the playoff race as of right now, or playoff places, I should say. So that's not too bad. Last season they only had, I think, 31 points over the whole season. They already have half of that amount right now, so they're on pace to do some really good things this year. I'd love to see them competing in the playoffs to get those academy guys some playoff experience at the USL level. That's exactly what Atlanta United needs. Hopefully it can test them, improve them, and then they can come into the first team and show that same competitive fire and skill that we're seeing right now. Yeah,
indeed. But that does it for the news, and this gets us to our Atlanta United Fan TV network that we've pretty much been trying to cultivate, and you might have seen with Unrelegated coming onto the channel and might have been wondering what that's all about. We haven't been able to provide context yet because, I mean, frankly, it's been kind of busy the past month with a lot of things going on, not only with the games, but also behind the scenes. But, Unrelegated essentially is a fantastic Atlanta United podcast. The OG podcast with Jay Riddle and Kelly Francis, of course, has been seen on this channel, and I think I want you guys to welcome them with open arms and give them a watch because it really is fantastic stuff. And also with the amazing Queens of the South, that kind of offshoot of Unrelegated as well. The only all-female podcast of Atlanta United right now in the podcast space. So definitely please check out all of that stuff. But it's also part of this network that we're trying to grow of programming, and so it's just a lot of amazing things we have going on behind the scenes that we can't wait to share with you guys. And
it's got a lot of amazing content heading your way. Pretty much anything you can think of, it's coming your way. I mean, to have Kelly and Jess doing Queens of the South is incredible. They are both two incredible women who know a hell of a lot about soccer, and it's very entertaining to watch those two talk about anything, to be perfectly honest. And Unrelegated, you'll see me, you'll see AJ, you'll see Dev, you'll see Mark, you'll see all sorts of people dropping in on Unrelegated as well, and they feature some really great guests. It's a kind of a different programming from what you see with Five Stripe Weekly. We're just trying to give everyone a different sort of taste of everything, so that if you want something, you can come to Atlanta Fan TV, and we're gonna have something for you.
Right, and it also potentially frees me up for even more content. So more, more pods, more shows, more vlogs, and also maybe some, very just exciting stuff, original content with some Atlanta United celebrities. So it's just stuff that we can't wait to get out to you. And yeah, I mean, we're also actively seeking sponsorships, and maybe might explore a Patreon as well, so that we can continue to up and level up our game here. And we just have a bunch of stuff that we have in tow that it's just really, really great.
But none of that would be possible, by the way,
Yes.
without all the support and the views and the subscribes and the follows that you guys have given us across social media and YouTube. We appreciate every single one of you for all that you do to help spread the word and watch all the videos that we produce, because at the end of the day, without you, the viewer, we couldn't do any of this. So we thank you so much for everything you've done so far. And we honestly can't wait to see what we can do in the future and what we can create for you guys.
Right. And also, if you have a business that wants to advertise with us, let us know and hit us up in the back end of this channel or in the DMs on social media. But we are just really ecstatic about it. And just check out all the new stuff that's coming out, because there's a lot that's gonna be coming. But guys, that gets us to our mailbag, and you guys send in these questions through IG story. Please continue to do so, and we may answer your question in the future. First question comes from Official Chancho. Was the win against Revs a turning point in our season?
I think it could be, but we won't really know for a few weeks' time. It's a win, and it's the first of the season, so in that sense, it's turning around the results. Will it be a turning point? I think that's something that we'll be able to look back on and answer that question in a few weeks' time, but you can't say that if you don't go out and get 3 points against FC Dallas this weekend.
Right, and I think it's one of those, I think you're seeing the tactics are being a lot more flexible, and so I think if we continue in this route where we let the players play and not maybe have to be rigid to a system, maybe we can really start seeing the players start to express themselves and be able to, kind of kick on like we know that they can. But next question comes from Ali Cupertino. Do you see us continuing the same formation against Dallas as we had last week? If no, why? I think we're gonna get into that with the match preview. But I think for a little bit of a preview to that, a tease, I think it's gonna be maybe similar, but in terms of the formation, and but I think the personnel is gonna be different. But I think letting them free flow a little bit more like they did against the New England Revolution probably still bodes well, and I think I think we should.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that you saw against New England was a bit more familiarity. I think Frank de Boer didn't really know his best 11. I don't think he knew what suited his team the best within his philosophy of how the game should be played. It's difficult to express yourself when you're having to think about where am I supposed to be, when do I make a run. When you're thinking about all those things, it's a lot more difficult to just do and express and play the game. And Atlanta United has so many players that are expressive, creative players. And to force them to be thinking about everything isn't exactly how they play the game. It's a lot more off the cuff, 1-2s, back heel, spin, roulette, doing these things. That's what these guys love to do. That's really a South American thing, if we're being honest. And I think now, the more that the team consistently plays within the same formation and the same tactics, the more they'll be able to feel natural at home and express themselves. So without getting too deep into what they'll look like this weekend, I think they will look similar, and I think that they're going to continue to play within this kind of philosophy moving forward, getting away from some of the stuff we saw earlier at the beginning of the season.
And I think a lot of fans will probably be happy to hear that if that is the case. But next question comes from EA Dunkley 111. Can you see Escobar in a permanent role at left back?
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if a permanent role, but I think if in a pinch, because we are a little bit short at the moment as well, and if we're trying to, have Parkey at right back at times, then I think Escobar is capable, albeit he's not a naturally left-footed player, but he is able to bomb up and down there. But
I think he offers you the athleticism and the work rate on the left that you might not get because of his pace, that you might not get from a Breck Shea. He's a different type of player to Breck. I think it's a different option. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable with him consistently playing at the left because, again, the fullback positions is really important to have the foot of the side. So if you're on the left, having a left foot's really important because it makes it easier to play down the line. It makes it easier to attack down that side and overlap as opposed to underlap. I don't know if he'll play there. Again, like you said, in a pinch, I think he might be able to do the job, but
it's also easier unless you're Cesar Azpilicueta, but I think in terms of defending crosses also, it's easier if you are the same foot as the side you're on. Because, yeah, you have to move quick, and wingers are quick and tricky. If they're whipping it across and they're right-footed on the left side, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be, you want to be able to get there as quick as possible to stop that cross with your left foot if it probably happens from there. And so it's, you know, conversely the right side as well. And so, you know, that's where generally you should probably have the same footed on that side. But next question comes from Alex Hagler. Outside of the obvious choices, who are some ATL 2 players we should look out for?
Without putting too much pressure on anyone, I mean, I'm really interested to see what Jackson Conway has to offer now that he's got his first goal. Because at 6'3", at 17 years old, he offers a different type of forward play than anything Atlanta United has at the moment. So for me, I think I'd pick him outside of the obvious choices, being, you know, your Carltons, your Lagos Kungo,
the
or
homegrown
George
choices,
Bello.
I guess, yeah.
I'm interested
That's
to
how I
see.
interpret it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how he can develop and if he can continue and start scoring goals at a higher rate. Because if he can do that, he's got a very bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, that's a really fantastic choice, of course. For me, I think it's a George Campbell, academy player, defender, big lad as well, and someone that, yeah, I mean, you know, can come in, you know, kind of after, you know, maybe, I don't want it to happen, but an LGP if he has to move on somewhere. And yeah, you know, you have guys who are showing a lot of things, and I think, yeah, it's a guy that, yeah, Atlanta too has shown not only physicality but an ability to play on the ball a little bit. So yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, George Campbell. But last question comes from Vinny Vici 17. Could we see Yamil Asad return to the Five Stripes? I mean, you know,
Probably not.
yeah, nothing's out of the realm of possibility, but yeah, he is getting, I think he's 25, going on 26 probably now. I think if he's not coming in the next 2 years, it's probably going to get to a point where I don't know if we're going to see him. Of course, we'd all love to see Yamil Asad back in Five Stripes. But, yeah, I mean, it's, you know.
The money side as well.
Exactly. And unfortunately, he's rotting away at Velez Sarsfield, and it's a shame what's happening. Like, it's just, yeah. Asad deserves better. Should he be playing in MLS? I don't know, but at least he should be playing somewhere because he's definitely got quality. And yeah, it's yeah. Hopefully he will catch on somewhere. But that does it for Mailbag, and that gets us to the return of Wasteman of the Week.
We have finally got a Wasteman of the Week, and it's actually very simple. Kaku, what the hell were you thinking, bro? You kicked a ball right into someone's face from no feet away. What a childish action from a professional. Deserved red card.
Reprehensible.
I haven't seen if there's a ban. Has he officially gotten a ban yet? I don't know. Whatever it is, the hammer deserves to be dropped on him and the Red Bulls for their pathetic attempt of a public response to it. It was good to at least see some of his teammates go over to check on the fan after the game. But seriously, really? Like, what are you, 12 years old? Come on now. Like, what are you doing?
And then, yeah, Robles' response after that as well was, I mean, he's protecting his teammate, I get it. But, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, you know, hopefully the victim of that kick is okay. You know, it was you just
stupid.
don't want to see that.
Whatever it is, enjoy your ban. You absolutely deserve it, Kaku. Wasteman of the Week, #1 for 2019.
Yeah. And that gets us to our match preview. And yep, it's against FC Dallas. It's Saturday, and it's at 4 p.m. An earlier kickoff this time.
It is on ESPN though.
Yeah, but
nationally televised.
Nationally televised, yes. And yeah, I think it pits us against a team that is in decent form right now, I would say. I mean, you know, they're not doing too bad.
4 out of 6, four wins out of 6. So
indeed.
It's not too shabby.
And our previous matchups against them, of course, we were in that September stretch when we beat them 3-0.
Well, they were the inaugural game.
They were. Yes, indeed.
LGP with his sliding goal at the back post.
First goal at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And then, of course, they beat us last minute in Dallas 3-2.
That game was annoying.
Yep. But, yeah, I mean, in terms of FC Dallas, that type of team that they are, I think, more kind of wing heavy. They like to attack from, the wings, for lack of a better word.
Right. Specifically the right. They attack a lot down the right.
Yeah, and they are kind of want to put a through ball in, so we'll have to watch out for those balls in behind. But I think with a Miles Robinson in tow and an LGP as well, they do see out balls quite well. Excuse me. But
I think what's interesting in this, to touch on Miles Robinson, he's gonna want to have a good game against FC Dallas because he didn't have the best 5 or 10 or so minutes against FC Dallas last season when he was kind of put on at the end. Not really gonna blame him for what happened. It wasn't ideal circumstances, but I think he's going to have something to prove in this game. The interesting thing is that FC Dallas is a team that I think matches up very well against Atlanta United. Yeah. They're going to sit deep. They haven't changed from last season. They will sit deep, they will defend well, and they will break quickly. For Atlanta United, if they're holding on to the ball, they have to move it quickly, but they also have to be very aware of where Dallas's players are, because if we're having the fullbacks bomb forward and overlap, that's going to leave the center backs very, very exposed. And FC Dallas is one of the best teams at counterattacking in MLS. They will find that space, they will exploit that space, and they will score goals. That is the big danger for Atlanta United in this game, is FC Dallas on that counterattack. And as we all know, that's pretty much how teams get goals against Atlanta United at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Right, and so we really need to be wary of that. For us, we really need to build on that victory against New England, and so that's pretty vital. We'll see if we can move the ball quickly like we did, and really, be a little bit unpredictable at times as well. But I think it also is, in terms of what we'll need to do, is Ezequiel Barco part of the starting?
Oh, absolutely.
Starting 11.
Ezequiel Barco absolutely has to start this game. You do not score 2 goals, especially of the quality of the 2 goals, and not start in the next game. Yeah. Against a team that will defend deep, he's a player that has the ability, the technical ability to pick that lock, to get by someone, to have that moment of magic to score a goal. Because I feel like I beat a dead horse here consistently talking about the first goal at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but every time Atlanta United scores first, I feel much better about the game. Yes, it hasn't worked out against Cincinnati and Philadelphia so far this season, but in terms of when Atlanta United is playing well, teams know they have to be solid at the back. If you can draw a team like FC Dallas out, who is not used to playing open and higher up the pitch, if you can get those goals to force them to come out, you will have the ability to take advantage of that space in behind. It is so vital for Atlanta United to not go behind in this game, because FC Dallas is not a team that throws away leads very often.
Right.
So a player like Ezequiel Barco will be absolutely pivotal for Atlanta United to get 3 points this weekend.
Right. And so who are the players for them that we need to watch out for? Jesus Ferreira, their forward. He's got 2 goals and an assist. Dangerous guy. And also Paxton Pomykal. He's also got 2 goals and assists.
And he plays either as a 10 or in central midfield, depending on what formation they play. And they've put out both a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-4-3 this year. The most dangerous player, in my opinion, though, is Michael Barrios off that right wing. He's got 2 goals and 2 assists. He is very, very dangerous. So whoever is playing left back for Atlanta United this weekend, they're going to need some help, which makes me question whether or not Brek Shea might be the best choice in this scenario, because he's not exactly the quickest in the world. And on the break, they will be looking to Barrios to create that space and to create chances. So that's a big point of concern and worry for Atlanta United. So if you want to look to a place where Dallas may be attacking, I'd say watch that right wing for FC Dallas for sure. They've spread around the goals, they've spread around the assists, so it seems like, they've been, chemistry-wise, they know what they want to do, they know where the players are going to be, and so, they're definitely more, they know their system. In
they
terms
know
of
their system.
familiarity with their system, they know exactly what they want to do.
Exactly.
So that's kind of another scary thing, is they know exactly what they're going to do when they come in here and set up.
Right.
And Atlanta United is, again, even though they got that performance against New England, still kind of feeling themselves out, which is why this match is so important, because FC Dallas at the end of the day is one of the better teams consistently in MLS.
Right.
To get a result at home against them would be a very, very solid 3 points for the Five Stripes. And it's not going to be an easy task this week either.
Right. But the odds actually say something different, which is really, really interesting. They pretty much say that Atlanta United are 13-20 to win. That's a 60.6% chance to win this match. And to draw, it's 3-1, 25%. And FC Dallas to win is 21.1%.
At 15-4. And those are all via Bet365.
Yeah.
That is a tasty bet.
Yeah.
Obviously betting is still not exactly a thing, but me looking at that, knowing how good Dallas is, I don't know why Dallas's odds are that long, considering Atlanta United has been playing the way that it's been playing so far.
Right, and that we have an 85% chance essentially to get a result.
Of any points whatsoever.
I mean, I don't know if they're taking in form into account, but I mean, I like the odds as an Atlanta United fan, so yes.
I think that's very favorable to Atlanta United, and I don't think that exactly reflects the ability and talent and threat that FC Dallas offers Atlanta United. But to get into that, lineup and how we will face up to try to get those 3 points against FC Dallas. How do you see us lining up to try to go and accomplish that task?
Right. So I think, with some similarities from New England Revolution, I think later on in the match, you saw and heard that Tito Villalba said that we were actually playing a 4-4-1-1. And so very, very interesting. That's a kind of shape and formation and tactics that we haven't had this year. And I assumed that he was probably at least the one underneath Joseph. And then, of course, later on, PT came in and Barco came off. And so he was probably the one underneath as well in that cam spot, or kind of second striker, if you will. But so I think it's in again 4-4-1-1 to allow not only the defense to be kind of really strong, and because in the place of maybe an Eric Remedi, who I think maybe it's a little too early to get him back in, I think you want to kind of let him get just
healthy. Head injuries are nothing
that
you should mess around with.
Exactly. And so, you don't want to rush him back into that. And I think a Larry can step into that. But, so for me, it's Guzan between the sticks, of course. I think of Franco Escobar as that right back, Miles Robinson, LGP. And this is where it's tough, because is it Shea? Is it Bello? Bello, I mean, he has the pace to be able to handle Barrios if he's coming down, and there's just a through ball or a diagonal that's just being hit. But I think it's also Shea has he played very decently defensively this past match. It's just a matter of he might have to stay home even more, and that makes our left side in terms of link-up play, in terms of just anything going forward, it might make it even less, and so it might just be kind of a black hole going forward. But I think, with Frank de Boer, he's going to go with a little bit more of the defensive option, so I think it's going to be Shea. I think also in the midfield, it's going to be Gressel, kind of a little bit shading more towards the right, but still part of that midfield setup. Larry kind of as that pivot, and then Nagby kind of more on the left, and Barco kind of in that free role, able to do what he does. And so I think it's going to be Tito and Joseph as the forwards. So with that, we're going to be able to play like we were, and creating so many chances, getting the byline, being unpredictable, playing to the wings, and playing those pullbacks that are so deadly.
Absolutely. I think something that's very interesting to note in the 4-4-1-1 is you don't see a lot, especially at the highest level, a lot of back fours with a four-man midfield. It's kind of gone out of fashion almost, because a lot of the times you can end up getting overrun in the midfield because you only have two players in the central midfield roles unless they both work really hard. I think what's interesting is that it almost might be the best position for Julian Gressel on the right side of a midfield 4 because he's between that wing back and that right wing role. So he's able to do both whilst being a little bit further forward, but far enough back to where he can tuck in and provide a bit more defensive help in the middle of the pitch. I think as far as the left is concerned, I think with Tito being given that free role, it allows him to move to the right and the left to link up with both Barco and with Julian Gressel. But also, you'll have Brek Shea kind of sitting there, so it gives Ezequiel Barco more freedom to push higher up the pitch and find those spaces where he can receive the ball. I think key to that is Darlington Nagbe. If he can put in a performance like he did against New England, where he can push forward, break through the lines, help give the ball to those forwards,
especially the final ball that was so important, the key passes.
That will be key because if Larinowitz starts, you know he's going to kind of provide that shield for the back four or drop in when in possession. So it could be a very interesting formation that provides the exact amount of balance that Atlanta United needs. So for me, I think, I don't know if it is a 4-4-1-1. I kind of tend to agree with you in that sense. Those would be the 11 players that I would pick. I still don't think PC Martinez is ready yet. If Escobar is fit, I think he needs to play at right back over Michael Parkhurst, especially against a team that is going to be as quick on the counter as FC Dallas. I obviously would love to see a 4-3-3, but without being cheap, you know, I think that it is more than likely going to be that 4-4-1-1 because it gives all the players the creative freedom and the positioning that they need. It's interesting, like you said, it's not something we've seen before. It's not something that you see a lot of, and maybe because of that, it's exactly what Atlanta United needs against an FC Dallas side that might not be expecting or might not be prepared to play a team that has so much movement and creative freedom, which is something that we haven't really seen from Frank de Boer so far this season.
Indeed. So that gets us to our score prediction, and what do you got?
I think it's going to be 2-1 Atlanta United. I think Atlanta United will get goals, but there's something about Dallas that even though we might have more guys playing at the back, they are so good on the counter. And it seems right now that every team is scoring at least one when they come to the bins in MLS. Yes, it's Cincinnati. Yes, it's Philadelphia. But Dallas is going to be the best team in MLS to come here so far this season, and they've been in good form. I think they'll get one, but I think Atlanta United builds off that performance against New England and gets a very needed, very important 3 points on the board here. Yeah,
I think if we can score first, we can open up this game a lot more because I think FC Dallas isn't just going to come to not try to get a result. And I think with that, if we do score first, I think we can actually open this up a little bit more.
That'd be great to see.
Yeah, and so, it might be a 3-1 win. But I think if we don't score first, it might be a 2-1 win. But so either way, I still have us with the 3 points. But and that means it's a good weekend and something that's built on for, the next week after that against Colorado Rapids. But that gets us to our question of the day.
Guys, our question of the day is pretty simple. Did that 2-0 win over New England quell your concerns about Frank de Boer in this season? Obviously, it's our first 3 points of the year. A lot of people were really getting close to that cliff, that precipice of despair. But are you feeling better about this season after that 2-0 win against New England? Get down in the comments below and let us know what you guys think.
But guys, that's it for us today. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Smash that like button and share this video because it really does help us a lot. And for Tanner McLeod, I'm AJ. Thank you guys so much for watching.